Okay, let's call this meeting to order. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance. We got this great big flag down there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let the record reflect that all the board members are here. Next, I would ask for approval of our agenda.
How do we approve the agenda as presented?
Support?
I have a public comment regarding the agenda. The proposed agenda is not in compliance with the Township Board Administration rules under board meeting agenda. Under 8 correspondence, which you call reports, there should be number 9, public comment brief, 2 minutes. And then under what you have as number 12 for new business, there should be a number 13, public comment extended. And under the board rules for extended public comment, it states, members of the public who wish to address the board for more than 2 minutes on an item not included on the agenda must address the board under the extended public comment. Persons will be recognized in order in which they indicate their desire to address the board, end quote.
Can everybody hear?
I'm gonna hear it.
I guess we're voting Monica, this is something.
Is that mic on?
Oh.
Tap it.
I don't know.
We can't hear them. Turn it up.
We just need to turn that mic on. Just push the button on the mic.
Board heard me. Did you hear me, Mr. Gale?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that better?
No.
Better?
Yeah.
There you go. So I haven't picked up the mic. I can talk.
That's still lazy concern back there. So Jerry, let me just respond to that comment that she just made.
Okay.
What she's referring to is our bylaws that were, I shouldn't say bylaws, I should say administrative procedures that were back in, probably, I'm not even sure what date it was. But, what that states in there is that we have 2 public comments, and I don't know if the board has changed that or not. So we've always done it the way we do it here. So we've never had 2 public comments. Does anybody on the board, Carlton, do you remember if you've ever had 2 public comments on the board?
I do. I remember.
Okay, well, I don't think that procedures are like a, sort of speak, an ordinance that you have to abide by, but it has been changed, and, it's a procedure. So it's not like the agenda's not right, it's just, we've been doing this for as long as I've been there, and I've been there since 2017, so.
Okay, under the Township Board Administration rules and powers of which you are supposed to follow, it says board, authority to interpret. These interpretations shall be considered authoritative and binding unless the interpretation is appealed by the Township Board, which means you have to follow this unless you guys change this in writing.
We changed the agenda, and we approved the agenda, so to me, we've changed it as a board, it's sent out, and so.
Well, I
as we
appreciate that, but
approve
you have to follow your bylaws, that's why they're written. These are rules for the
Those
board
are
to
not
follow.
bylaws, Sandy, they are procedure, administrative.
So you're telling me you're not following this intentionally?
Not intentionally,
Let the minutes reflect that you're not following this.
It's on live.
Okay, the agenda has been, a motion to approve the agenda and seconding. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Okay, next we have approval of our minutes of our regular board meeting of 26th of January, 2026.
I have a public comment.
we're not.
We're not in public
We're
comment.
not public comment yet, Sandy.
Okay, I have a comment regarding agenda item 5, approval of minutes. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Under number 9, public comments, and specific to page 3, second paragraph, under anonymous, I am requesting that in addition to the minutes reflect that it was stated that Jerry Hale breached his fiduciary responsibilities and created a conflict of interest on the day he signed the NDA, and that Hale, Vanderzeel, and Thompson were asked to recuse themselves. And then under new business 12A, regarding the PC reappointments of Simmons and Genovich, the minutes should reflect that the township had 3 qualified applicants for consideration of commissioner appointment, and that those applicants were never divulged to the board or public, and their applications were not a part of the agenda packet, and there were no board deliberations whatsoever.
Okay, we're still on approving the minutes.
Move to accept the minutes as presented of January 26th, 2026.
I'll support it.
It's been moved and supported that we approve the minutes of the January 26th, 2026 meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Okay. Next, we have our treasurer's report.
I finished up today at 5 was the last day to pay taxes without the 3% penalty that will be added. I looked, it's probably 160 yet to pay, and they have until March 2nd to pay me, and then they go to the county.
Will we accept the treasurer's report as presented?
Support.
It's been moved and supported that we accept the treasurer's report as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Next, we have our accounts payable, checks and payroll.
I have a comment on agenda item.
No, you can wait till
I
public
have a
comment.
comment. You're telling me now I can't comment on an agenda item? Should I
You
do
can't
that?
during public comment.
I'm not making a public comment. I said, and you cut me off, Jerry. I'd appreciate it if you'd let me talk. I have a comment on number 7, accounts payable agenda item. And I'm curious to know as to why we are paying a $39 late fee for First National Bank credit card, and why you only pay half the bill, because now the township will incur another $39 late fee next month. And I also, under check register date 2/1/26, for services rendered by Bloom Sluggett. Are you Mr. Sluggett there? Who are you?
Mike Hooker, attorney with Bloom Sluggett.
Okay, good. Glad you're here. Under the check register 2/1/26 for services rendered from Bloom Sluggett for the month of December 2025 for the amount of $11,081.08. And then under check register 2/12/26 for services rendered from Bloom Sluggett for the month of January for the amount of $9,205.50. What were those services for? So a recap, during the last 2 months, Bloom Sluggett billed the township $20,000, $286.58. And I want to make mention that you cannot use taxpayers' money to pay for an attorney to assist Jerry Hale's misconduct and continuance of his breach of fiduciary duties and conflict of interest relative to the NDA. And I also questioned why Mr. Bloom was here last month, and we have somebody from Bloom Sluggett here this month. You guys can't keep quiet without an attorney sitting here to remind you. It's open and obvious. I mean, it might be cheaper to buy muzzles. I don't know.
Okay, where were we? I guess it's been moved and seconded. Okay.
I'll move we authorize payment of the accounts payable and payroll as presented.
I'll support.
It's been moved and supported that we approve the payment of the accounts payable, checks and payroll. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We have reports from our
zoning and enforcement.
All the violation encouraging orders are closed now.
Yeah. Also, we have, the, PC activities in 25. Any comments or questions? Okay.
Make a comment that, we're gonna have a fire authority meeting on Thursday night, it's been canceled from last month, or last Thursday, but we will have it this Thursday night.
Okay.
And we didn't have the January one, it's been hard to get everybody together. So we will have one, and so with the budget, we have not finalized it at the fire authority any more than we did in December.
Okay, next is public comment. And we'll open that now. If you would like to speak, please come to the microphone. We ask that you state your name and municipality for the record, but this is not required. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Each person may speak once, and you may not give your time to someone else. This is time for the board to listen. We will not be answering questions during public comment. We ask everyone to be respectful and listen with an open mind. So.
My name's Ross Gordon. I live in the Lowell area. I have a couple of things to address. I wasn't going to speak tonight.
Rob, can you put the microphone a little closer?
Yeah, sorry, I'm horrible at speaking in public. At the Lowell City meetings, they have 2 public comment periods. One for agenda items, they're coming up through the meeting, and then a later public comment period after that, the agenda items for general public comment. That allows the people that attend those meetings to speak about the budget, accounts payable, anything you had up here tonight without having to interrupt Jerry. I know that the city and township are different, but it's a best case practice. It gives our residents here the chance to talk about the agenda and stay focused, and then later in the meeting, discuss what it really like. So I'm asking the board to consider the city does having 2 public comment periods, one for agenda items, and one for non-agenda items. I don't know, I'll just kind of, going back to an agenda item tonight, on the accounts payable check register, check number 16218, dated February 12th of this year, was a Terrabury Landscaping. A board member owns that company. And you voted to approve your own payment. Mr. Anderson. And you've done that previously in every minute I've looked back the past 2 years. How you can sit here tonight and not disclose that you own the company that you had payments approved to is beyond me. If there's nothing to hide, say it. If there is, then I guess you don't. But in this time what's going on, there's a big breach of trust that we feel like we can't trust members of the board, and we'd like to work together better. But when you're paying yourself and voting on your own payments with the attorney present, that's an issue. Please consider that in the future. Thank you.
City of Lowell resident. I do notice a big difference between the city and the township board meetings. no offense, you guys work hard, but the city meetings are a lot more professional. And almost every agenda item, people on the board are asking questions. None of you up there ever asks any questions. Oh, we're just gonna approve it. Oh, and I second it. When do you guys have these discussions? Behind our backs? I don't know. I would just like to see a little bit more involvement on the agenda items. Thank you. My name is Sheila Hogue, and I guess my question as they brought up is the checks for the lawyer. Where do we find this information out? I don't know why it's not common knowledge, since it is township money, it's tax money that's being paid. Again, I'll go with the others. There's gotta be a lot more transparency. Withdraw if you have anything involved. You can't sit on a board and own a company or own land that's being sold or put into the township. This is just a conflict of interest. I'm retired now, but where we worked, if you had an inkling of anything, that you were on some other board, that you were president of another group, you had to dismiss yourself. So, the more I read here, the more I'm just astounded that you guys can sit up there and do this. Just supporting your own interests and then hide the fact. And if you're not hiding, as you said, then just bring it out in the open. There's nobody else to do the job. We picked it up, we did it at a discount, whatever it is. If you gave it as charity work, then hurrah. But as I said, this has just gone on for months. There's so much suspicion now. We just don't trust anything. And it's kind of bottom up with the government, the way it's going. And it's sad, because there's a lot of people, and I'm telling you, my dad used to do this, that give their time. But that's not the way this is coming on. And now a lot of you people, you've done a lot for the community, but you've got to be straightforward. If you have involvement, state it up front, bring it up. If you're doing something that's basically charity work, then it's still got to be brought up. Why do we have a lawyer? Not a clue, and you're not telling us anything. You won't talk during these board meetings, so like anything else, can anybody trust? Things to think about, but I definitely say you gotta open your books, because somebody's gonna crack them sometime. But it's all gonna spell out, and then you won't have the ability to explain what you were doing.
Good evening, my name is Nicole, and I am a Lowell Township resident. As many have said, there is an issue with transparency. We're a small community. We understand that there will be times that we have ownership interest on the board. What we want is those things disclosed, which I think is very fair. We are in a time where there is very little trust of government in general, and due to immediate situations here, it is even lower. With a lack of transparency breeds suspicion. But if you were to allow that transparency, or at least more, because we understand that there are some legal matters that cannot be fully transparent as we wish they could be. The hiding behind these things is what brings up our hackles. Open yourselves up. Actually be honest with us. That's what we want. And yes, there will be times where we all disagree. That is what this country was founded on. And that is something that we embrace. However, hidden agendas, lies, misdirects are not what we want, especially of people that we have elected to represent us. We want to be proud of our community. We want to be proud of our leaders. So please show us that we can be proud of the work you are doing, the service you are giving, because we know this is not a high-paying job. This is not, you're not making a ton off being board members. Even the elected officials that are our full-time staff are not making a ton of money. We understand this. So we thank you for that. But we also, with that choice to run for those positions, also comes that responsibility and accountability. I've worked with government for many, many years. My family's done business in the government sector before I was born. We understand not everything is black and white, and not everything can be crystal clear transparency. But it's a whole lot better than the murky waters that we've been seeing. Thank you.
Hey, good evening. This is Mike Schmucker from Alto. Can you hear me all right? Originally, I wasn't going to talk a whole lot, and I could talk on and on about data centers, but I'm not going to tonight because thank you for letting me speak. I'm not going to use my daughter as a pawn. She's a little embarrassed right now because she's looking at me. Just prior to this, I was talking with somebody out in the lobby, and I was talking about how I'm trying to pour into our youth and get them energized about different things, whether it's in the trades, go back to school, talk to them and everything. Andy, you and I chatted a couple of meetings ago about wanting the community to be involved. And my daughter, who's in student council for the high school, she's got a great opportunity to learn. At this point, and again, I don't know everything that everybody's talked about, but what a great opportunity for her to see how this works and the opportunities you guys have to present to us what we, not what we need to hear, but we want to, like everybody said, like we want to work together, right? We want to be able to say, you guys are doing this, good, let's get some transparency, let's talk through it, let's get maybe some kind of public involvement, more so than just us talking and you guys hearing us but not necessarily responding. There's got to be an opportunity for Q&A or something from you guys, some kind of two-way feedback. So anyway, sorry, Kendall. Thanks, everybody.
Hey there, Betsy Lopez-Wagner. I live in the Lowell area. First and foremost, just want to go ahead and recognize Rhonda Benedict. I think it was really important that Rhonda Benedict made time for Residents United for a Healthy Lowell. Last Monday, we should note that to the Planning Commission, we submitted a Planning Commission application. We used the other box to be able to submit a 12-month moratorium on data centers and related activities. We do want to note that Rhonda made extraordinary time available for us to be able to talk at depth. However, one thing we do want on the record is that on Monday, when an individual representative from our group did submit that, it was said to them that it would not be accepted, that was not the correct form, and we do want to make note of that because the Planning Commission application does have the submission in the area for other. It is not listed and or there are no procedures that specifically say that it can only be property owners who can submit the application for things to come up before the Planning Commission. So we are hopeful that that still will be introduced, if not this evening by Rhonda, but also by the Planning Commission during that upcoming March 10th meeting. Also want to really recognize the importance of a moratorium. We recognize and we've heard from many of you that the data center is not on the agenda. Every day until that data center is shut down, it is on the agenda. It's in this community, it's hard in this community. We recognize that there is a great deal of transparency issues. As individuals have gone ahead and flagged today, those transparency issues They're not things that are going to go away. So first and foremost, we do recognize the great importance of rescinding the NDA. We know that rescinding the NDA will not mean that information that's previously been made available will now come to fruition for us to know, but it does mean that in the future, those types of conversations will be held in the court of public opinion, also here within meetings, and openly within you all. So, here again, just advocating for a 12-month moratorium, as well as the opportunity to go back to that NDA, which not every member of the township was privy to be able to roll that back. Thank you.
I'm Molly Hilton, and I live in Virgins Township. I know that we're always asked, well, do you live in Lowell Township? And I want to clarify why this is so important to me, because the more research that I do into data centers and communities that have put in AI data centers, which, there aren't very many, right?
The harms, hold the microphone
I'm sorry.
a little bit closer.
Thank
There
you.
go. Thank you.
The harms to human health from a data center move beyond the boundaries of the municipality, right? So this is a regional concern. And I have read a lot of the Microsoft materials. They don't talk about these harms, right? You have to go out and get them. There was an article just published in the Lancet in January calling on researchers to direct attention to AI data centers and the harms to human health that are already documented, and to expand that research. So I just want to underscore that when people stand here at this microphone and they're from other municipalities, the city of Lowell, Virgins Township, they have very real concerns, and as humans, as neighbors, we should all have those concerns, right? Those are valid to bring to you, to this body. I'd like to also speak to the moratorium. There are now in Michigan, as of today, that I can count 52 municipalities that have passed moratoriums on data centers. And they have done that because it's a protection for the municipality. So there has been some information that has been disseminated. It's misinformation that this would open the township to a lawsuit. Done correctly, and I know we have very competent legal counsel, right? Done correctly, there is no legal jeopardy. If there were legal jeopardy, why would, what did I say, 52 other municipalities rush? That's since October. 52 since October have enacted moratoriums. We know that a moratorium doesn't mean that there won't be a data center. That's not the point. The moratorium gives us a pause, right? It gives the township and their experts time to research and develop the proper accountabilities. And I met with Brad Case last week, and he talked about conditional zoning. He is not an expert in public health. I don't think he is aware of the concerns, to be honest, and I'm not sure he cares, but I'm sure he's not aware. So that's all I have to say. If you have any questions about any of the moratoriums that have been passed in other municipalities, I'm happy to share that with you. I'm not a legal expert, but I'm certainly a good researcher, and I'd be happy to provide copies of those to you.
Hello, my name is Heidi Nagel. I'm a resident of Lowell Township. My husband and I were very fortunate to purchase our dream home about 14 years ago. And I just have a couple of things I want to say. First, I want to commend the efforts that you have made in the last few weeks to be more accessible, to be more open. And I know that I've been involved in local government for 25 years in Michigan. I'm very familiar with the requirements of township boards, and I know you guys have been kind of just going through the motions and doing what you've done with caring and love for the community for many years, but there are a lot more eyes on you now, and I know that you're aware of that, and I just want to commend the efforts that you've made even to have this meeting here in this environment and be more accessible. So thank you for that. A couple of things that came up at the last meeting, I just want to reiterate as well, the email list. I know that the Open Meetings Act only requires you to do some cursory efforts to publish agendas for meetings and things like that. I would strongly encourage you to use that email list. We've been subscribers to that list for almost 15 years, and I know what to do with my RV, but I don't know when the board meetings are happening as a result of being on that list. So I would strongly encourage you to make a little more effort about that newsletter, because again, people are watching, and there are a lot more people who want to be involved and are, it seems, looking for an opportunity to criticize your efforts. So that is, I feel like a easy mechanism for an infrastructure that's already in place for you to communicate and be more transparent. So I just want to encourage you to consider that. And in terms of the data center, everything that was said last month was, very impassioned, and a lot of it was very well researched. The one thing that didn't come up that I was hoping that would be addressed is just the perception that what is being told by the data center and the firm lobbying for the data center. As a resident in 2026, I don't believe a word a corporation will tell you. I don't believe a word about how many jobs they say they're going to bring. I don't believe for a second they're going to use local contractors for construction or for infrastructure. They've got national firms they'll bring in, they'll muck everything up, they'll make a big mess, and then they'll go and they'll be gone. I just really strongly encourage you to really take a close look at what's actually happened in these data centers and other communities. We're not going to get skilled work. We're not going to get a lot more tax dollars in our community. Corporations are here to take. They're not here to give for us. So I strongly encourage you to consider that. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tyler Shepard, and I wanted to show you that we are really able to communicate through ASL, and so this is how interpreting works, and we have an interpreter here. So, first of all, thank you. So first we wanted to put a few things on the agenda. Oh, on the record. And so, first of all, I work in a legal field, and so I have understanding of their perspective and how it feels about having a lawyer here in our presence. And so I understand that feeling because I'm in that law firm. And so I understand that. So I just want to put that out there. And then also, I very much support Betsy and the moratorium. And I'm very much supporting that and looking for that and being able to work with them to have that in place. And then, for people who aren't comfortable in that situation, I would really recommend working on a proposal. Let me go back. A proposal for temporary moratorium for equal access. So it would just be paused for the live streaming service to be established, to be fully set up. So that way it's able to be equal access. Because I've already talked about this a few times, and so I just want to have that looked into as well. Okay? And so that's all I just want to put out there. Thank you so very much for your time.
In regards to the non-disclosure agreement, it is a non-standard NDA, which raises a red flag in and of itself. Because when I see the words non-standard, that tells me that Microsoft is not just requesting trade secrets, but there's much more, broader terms. The NDA is signed under Lowell Township and incorporates, and I quote, A representative is an employee, contractor, advisor, or consultant of one of us or one of our respective affiliates, end quote. So therefore, Jerry Hale misrepresented to the public when he advised that the NDA was exclusive to Vanderzeel Thompson and himself. The fact of the matter is, every board and planning commissioner, the secretary, employees, contractors, advisors, consultants, volunteers, representatives, and affiliates are all subject to Jerry's secrets under the terms and conditions of the NDA. Also under the terms and conditions of the NDA, there is a clause that states, and I quote, each of us may disclose the other's confidential information for our representatives, who may then disclose that confidential information to other of our representatives, only if those representatives have a need to know about it for purposes of our business relationship with each other. Before doing so, each of us must ensure that affiliates and representatives are required to protect the confidential information on terms consistent with this agreement and accept responsibility for each representative's use of confidential information, end quote. What a huge liability for the township. I question if the liability policy limits of $3 million are sufficient enough to support a potential claim from a $1 trillion company such as Microsoft, and for the entire 10 years that you have committed the township to keep these secrets, especially if Microsoft continues to profit by way of Lowell's resources. Jerry, it's not necessary for a supervisor to have a bond. However, in your case, you have a small $5,000 bond. Do you have personal supplemental liability insurance or another bond to cover time between now and 2035 so that you don't put the township in financial crisis should someone in the next 10 years violate your unilateral agreement? Jerry, how old are you, and how old will you be in 2035 when the NDA expires? Who's sitting up there right now has an exclusionary contract relating to the NDA so that you're not bound to the terms and conditions of Jerry's secrets with Microsoft? Does Williams & Works? If none of you have an exclusionary contract, then you all have a conflict of interest and must recuse yourself. The NDA has a clause regarding disclosures, and they make it very clear that a court must become involved, and they will seek protective order unless you redact specific information, even when responding to a FOIA. Again, let's talk liability. This agreement remains in effect through 2035, so you as the board and everyone else that is affiliated with the township will leave this legacy, or should I say liability, to your successors. I question, how does the township continue to operate its day-to-day business when every person affiliated with the township is subject to the terms and conditions of the NDA and therefore has a conflict of interest? I question as to how you can hire anyone to assist you with anything regarding the data center when they're automatically subject to the terms and conditions of the NDA, thereby creating a conflict of interest. How do you hold a public hearing? No wonder Microsoft wants to take over our town by way of permissive user. Jerry, you advised the public that you signed the NDA because you thought you would get more answers. What good are these answers if everyone must keep them a secret or the township will be sued? In fact, you publicly stated that you feel that a data center already fits with the
Sandy, your time is up.
After reading the definition, you know what, Jerry, you can't just change the rules when you want to. I'll consent to the 3 minutes. If somebody wants to donate me their 3 minutes, thank you.
You can't do that.
Okay, since when? When did that rule come into play? When the attorney was here last month?
Open meeting, open meeting activity, yeah, get something else.
Okay, well, I'm going to finish.
You have 3 minutes and it's been up to you.
Well, just terminate the NDA because there is a clause that allows you with a 30-day written notice and no consequences other than you got to keep your little secrets that you have now.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Yes.
Greg Canfield, Lowell area resident. I just wanted to thank the township for making the accommodation to the ASL interpreter. The closed captioning, I went to a 3-hour meeting at City Council Lowell last night. You might want to talk to them. Yours is 10 to 20% gibberish up there, depending on how well the person speaks. Theirs was spot on and perfect. So, but thanks for doing what you can, but that needs a little work.
Hi, my name is Ashton, Lowell Township resident. I was just looking at the
A little bit closer.
A little closer. I was just looking at the appropriation for the 2026 budget, and it looked like there was 14,000 for the attorney. And it looks like since February and January, we've already spent 20,000, so we've already exceeded this year's budget for the attorney. And then I was just kind of curious, like, how can we, like, who's meeting with the attorney? Like, it seems like there should be like closed door session, rules if we're depending on who's meeting with the attorney. So that's just real concerning to me looking at that, and it makes it feel like things are trying to be decided behind closed doors as opposed to and it seems like we're working with an attorney to try and figure out how to make the zoning happen and make the data center a viable option and get it pushed through as opposed to listening to the public and taking a step back, passing a moratorium, just slowing things down a little bit. So that's all I wanted to say. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Jeanette Stevenson, 1075 6 Woodbush Drive here in Lowell Township. And I just wanted to first off say thank you to everyone up there being here tonight. Thank you to everyone out here for being here tonight. I think it's great to just have go through this process together. On behalf of Lowell Area Recreation Authority, I wanted to let all of you know about an event that we have coming up on the last Saturday in April 25th at 9 a.m. We have a spring cleanup day on our trails. Lowell Area Recreation Authority is basically the reason that we have so many great trails, actually that we're working on very soon, that will be connecting City of Lowell, Virgins Township, and the Township of Lowell. And so we would love to have all of you out there. If you're looking just for even an hour or two, just come on out and help us out. It would be really appreciated, not just by me, but our whole community.
Okay, is there anyone else who wants to speak? Okay, we will close the public comment. Next, we have our public hearing for general fund and fire fund budget for fiscal year 2026, 2027.
Budget that we adopt. We've been looking at it for 3 months. So if anybody has any questions, now's the time to make changes or make suggestions. Speak up, please.
I didn't see anything that looked like we needed to change.
Okay.
I like what you guys have put together.
Can you please speak up so everyone can hear everything that you're saying?
Is that speaker still working?
I think, yeah, it is.
We couldn't hear you.
Too far away.
I think you're too far away, Monica.
I got a couple comments or questions. For one, for the gypsy moth, is that the millage that, you think that's the amount that you're gonna get from the millage?
Yes, that is the amount that will be coming in for that.
Okay, and then, under the election stuff, it says in election inspector salary. Does that mean all the election workers, or is there one person?
No, that's all the election workers.
So in other words, to be an inspectors with S.
Yes.
Okay. I figured that was the case, but I just want to clarify. Those are my two main questions right now.
Are there any other questions?
I have a comment. I don't want to interrupt you guys if you're done, not done though.
had your 3 minutes.
One of the state law,
I'm talking about
public
the
comments
agenda
is
item.
closed. So it's up to you guys if you want to listen to it. It's not what you're doing, it's up to you guys.
Are you telling me I cannot speak on an agenda
You're
item?
interrupting the meeting.
Okay.
After we're done talking, then you're
There's public comment, now you're interrupting the meeting.
An agenda item.
Sandy,
You can make it,
after we're done talking about it, then we open it up for public comment.
Right.
we open it up to public hearing.
Any other comments from the board? Okay, at this time we'll open up for public comments.
Any other comments from the Lord? The Lord is.
I have a question, under Department 171, supervisor's insurance for $3,000. I'm just curious to know what that is for.
It's an insurance center. Every elected official, every employee and elected official get that. We don't have health insurance.
So is it for health insurance? That was my
Yes.
question. So is that the same for like $215 for the clerk for $6,000?
Yes.
And then $253 treasurer for $3,000? So then we get to $265, which is a general for $6,000. Does that cover?
That covers the zoning enforcer and the front desk receptionist.
And then under 265, there's a, I might get this number wrong, there's a 12,000 that's just like a general operating fund.
Yes.
What is that, just
Just
generally?
covers things like, what are some examples?
Service at the bank.
Service fees at the bank, just regular operating costs.
Okay. And then I do have a question under 266 attorney, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the original proposed budget was for 10. The new proposed budget I think is for 14. We owe $20,286. So if you have a $14,000 budget, unless my math is wrong, we're already negative $6,000.
Yeah, we will be making a budget amendment regarding that. That's how it works.
Okay, so is that like another public hearing, or how does that work?
Just make the comment though, this budget year doesn't start till April 1. So what is in just January has nothing to do with this budget, because our budget year starts April 1st.
Okay. So what do you anticipate on increasing that budget to? Do we know yet, or?
Yeah, not until we're done.
Okay, because last year, over $40,000 was expended on attorney fees, and at the rate we're going. And I just want to make reference, just so the public is aware, previous years, in 2021, $20,000 in attorney fees, 22, $23,000, 24, $12,000, 25, $40,000. We're $9,000 in 1 month into the 26th year. I wonder why we have such high attorney fees, Jerry. You're gonna arrest me?
You borrow the muzzle you want to give Jerry.
Okay, hello, Betsy Lopez Wagner again, Lowell area resident. It's actually in regards to one of the terms that's utilized on a page up. I just want to note that the township continues to use an ethnic slur, and I believe this is actually a liability to the township. The name is actually the spongy moth, and that was adopted by the Entomological Society of America over 4 years ago. Right now, the utilization of that term is really discriminatory, just saying that you're putting yourself at liability for possible lawsuit and other types of legal action. So just a note, much like a specific type of invasive carp in the Midwest has been now named the Kopi, it's really important that the township looks at the terminology that it's using and it thinks about how it's helping and or hindering the type of community that we're growing. So again, just would appreciate if that ethnic slur was taken off of this budget. Thank you.
I can speak to that. That's my fault. This was an enacted line item from a previous spongy moth outbreak, So when I added it back for this year's taxes, I apologize. I didn't change it and it didn't strike me, but I will do that first thing Thursday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the spongy moth has been grammatical. I'm sorry. The spongy moth has been through the process and
Right, and that's how it is.
Then our terminology throughout.
Yeah, this is my fault.
Nicole, again, from Lowell Township. I just want to say, Rhonda, thank you very much for your transparency, and we appreciate you telling us and being more of the record. Thank you.
Okay, is there any other public comments?
For transparency, when do you vote on the budget? Is it tonight or is it next month before the budget year starts? You're going to vote tonight. Okay. When will the amendment be put through for the attorney's fees for the rest of the year? Will that be after the budget's approved? I'm looking, Mr. Thompson.
No, it would be, the budget amendment for this fiscal year will be done probably in March when we see where we're at,
Okay.
how much we need.
Do you
This is
think that
next
will-
year's budget, this
Yeah.
doesn't begin until April.
Yeah. So going into next year's budget, starting April 1st, do we think we're going to stay at 14,000 for attorney's fees?
We don't-
We don't know. So later on through the year, there'll be another amendment to the budget to actually represent.
That it was just for this year.
I'm sorry.
We have to have an amendment.
Could you grab the microphone, please?
We will have to have an amendment next month.
For
this year.
This last current year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we won't know how next year until we get to that point.
Okay. And I'm going to go back on a previous item that's not on this hearing, but thank you for taking the closed caption seriously. I talk quiet, I talk fast, I mumble. I'm sure half this crowd can't tell what I'm saying unless they can read up on the screen. But to echo what Greg had said, it's not quite as good as what the city did last night. So, but thanks for getting us to the first step to a better step.
Nicole again. As a previous commenter has said, we have seen increases in our attorney's fees for the past many years, with the past, I believe it was 3 years of it being a minimum of $20,000 for the past that was the lowest over the past 3 years. I'm curious as to why we would approve $14,000 if we already have seen this incrementally increasing over the past 5 to 10 years, and that number was not relevant then. Why would we approve it now and not at least plan on that $20,000 mark? It just seems counterintuitive to me to approve a budget where we know already that there's no way that's going to be accurate.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll close the public hearing on the budget. Do we have any more comments for the board?
We're also doing fire budget at the same time, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, the amount that you come up with, is that, you figure out was it from the new budget or the new year, or is that, just to have to make work with the taxes? Because the fire authority is gonna cost more than, the fire is gonna cost more than what you can budget. You aren't gonna get enough through our tax millage to pay for all the fire protection, is that correct?
That's correct.
So that's why the amount is not So we'll have to take it out of general operating or something to finish paying for the fire authority.
New business D.
You wanna do that now? Before we approve the budget?
Who is that? 12B is the resolution for the, I'm just saying if you want to move it on.
Okay. Okay. Next, we have salary resolutions for supervisor, treasurer, and clerk.
I'd like to make a comment on the agenda item. You work 2.5 days per week without excluding holidays and vacation days, so it calculates to roughly 130 days per year that you work. Jerry stands to make $42,982, which means you're paid $331 per day. Monica makes $44,074, which means she makes $339 per day. Rhonda, $44,07, same thing, $339 per day. And I just question as to the appropriateness of timing for y'all to vote on giving yourself a raise, especially when you calculate how much you're being paid and the current debilitating condition of the township.
I could comment on that. It isn't a 2.5 day a week job. All of us are working beyond that. When the township office isn't open, there's still a lot of work being done.
I make a motion, we approve the 2026-02 supervisor salary.
Support.
Can you just add to that motion that that is going to be for the fiscal year 26, 27? That's it.
Is that for all?
Yes.
For fiscal year 26-27 for the supervisor salary.
Been moved and supported that we approve the supervisor salary increase. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
I move that we approve the 2026-27 clerk salary resolution.
Number 2026-03.
Oh, I thought it was 27. Thank you. 26-03-27, right?
It's for fiscal 26-27, period. I'll support.
It's been moved and supported that we approve the clerk salary resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Do it.
Yeah.
I'll move that we adopt resolution number 2026-04 for the treasurer's annual salary for 2026-27 fiscal year.
I'll support.
Been moved and supported that we approve the treasurer's salary resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
For some reason.
Next, we have adopt the resolution for the 2026-05 for fiscal year 2026-2027 general fund and fire fund budgets.
I move that we adopt the resolution 2026-05 for the 2026 2027 budget. I'll support.
Been moved and supported that we approve the fiscal year 2026-2027 general fund and fire fund budgets. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Next, we have a quote from Outdoor Agenda for illustrated map of our park. And that's a picture of just a sample of what they do, but we're planning a new custom illustrated interactive park map created by Outdoor Agenda. This map will help residents and visitors find a way around and enjoy our park more easily. It will be available on our website and on bulletin-style language signage throughout the park. The map will show all our main features clearly, including the bridge, trails, splash pad, pavilions, restrooms, playgrounds, volleyball courts, and athletic fields. Every major feature will be easy to see and locate. Because our park covers a large area, this map will help show the whole property clearly. North Park, which has many features in a small space, will be expanded in the design so it stands out. As new features are added, the map can be updated easily. This map supports the goals in our Park and Rec 5-year plan by making the park easier to use, more visible, and better organized. It also can be adopted for special events like Bridge Fest event map to help visitor flow and organization. It also, we're one of the stops on the Grand River Water Trail, and there'll be signage there that tells what stop it is, how far it is to the next stop, and also there'll be a QR code there that anybody can scan so they can bring up the map of the area and know what's available. So that's a kind of lowdown on how it is.
So, Gary, question, the map then is digitally and updated, right?
Yeah.
And then, will there be any set out on the entrances? At some point, do we wanna do that, or do we wanna just keep it all digitally as it changes and grows?
I think that's what we'll keep it that way.
Sure.
We could, there was some talk of having, like on the concession building in South Park, there's a bulletin board there, and we could have a few maps there for people that don't use their phone that much, so.
We could also just put a PDF copy or whatever.
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah.
Good.
Should we recommend this to Laura as well? Meaning the Lowell Area Recreational Authority?
They would look into it if you get a cost for it.
What do you think, Jeanette?
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. I think using the same company, that way we can have it all tied together.
Great point.
I have a question regarding this agenda item, is how many competing bids were received or asked for this project? Was a call for bids placed out, or?
We have not done that.
I'd like to see other bids because there may be other local businesses that would like to put in a bid for this project.
Okay.
I like that it's adaptable as we change and grow the park. I like that part of it. So, I like the concept.
Would the board like us to get another bid if we can on this?
Yeah, no problem.
No problem with
Yeah.
that. No problem.
Okay. We will do that.
Thank you. This business doesn't have a website, doesn't have a Facebook page, they're not in the township. This business does not have a website, they're not a registered LLC, they don't have a Facebook page, they're not in the township. So my question initially was, how do we find them? There are other printers in the area, and this did not go out for bid prior to what we just spoke about. This was a former dog kennel, not a printing company. So I don't know if there's a process within the township that says any bids over $1,000, $5,000, must have more than one quote. but I would encourage the board to shop around with taxpayer money. Thanks, Jay.
Hey,
Sorry.
Sorry.
My name is Phil Steffes. I'm the owner of Outdoor Agenda. This is something that I brought to the township. So I'm not aware of any bids, but I'm sure that's a process that is going to be obviously recommended. I do have a website. It's outdooragenda.com for anybody who's interested and wants to see more information about that. I think that's all that I have. Yeah.
Now that we got it, have you done other ones?
So this is actually officially the first one that I am, this business that I'm starting this year. Prior to that, I have done it with Gaines Township, their Prairie Wolf Park. I have utilized that and worked with them for about the last 5 years to create this product, and I'm now starting the process of going out to different townships and seeing if this is something that they'd be interested in. As far as I know, there's nobody else doing this in this area who is doing it in the same way that I am. But so I'm unsure about how a bid process would go in that way, but would encourage it all the same.
If you want to speak a bit, just about your company and where it started, I'm sure the audience will know.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So again, this is something that I've been doing sort of on the side for about 5 years, specifically with Gaines Township, working with them. Not for profit, just something that was a great excuse for me to be able to utilize my skills to expand their expand people's knowledge of that park, to be able to understand the features that are within it and be something that's a lot more engaging and accessible to the community. So I found that that was something that did engage the community very much, and the online portion at least is utilized on average about 200 or 300 times per month, just from citizens of Gaines Township going onto that. Yeah, that's something that I've been doing, again, for that short period of time, and decided I wanted to create a business out of it and see if this would be something that would be of interest to more townships. So that was my reason.
Thank you.
Just a real quick question, and for clarity, was there potential that this could have been approved if had questions not come up, or I guess what's the process once the bid's presented to the board, then it probably could have been approved tonight? Motion to approve second. Is that possibly how it could have gone?
Yeah, or we could have said, hey, we want more bids, or hey, let's have the park department.
It's the first time we saw it.
Yeah, and so I guess that's what for clarity, right? I mean, some questions were raised. Thank you for coming down and explaining what you do, but there was potential. You guys could have approved this, and you didn't. It sounds like you guys didn't do much research into this prior to tonight because you didn't know who this guy was. And you said, why don't you tell us a little bit about the business? So that tells me like you may have not even heard what he does. He gave you a white paper, and that's great. I look at white papers all day long until I actually had the conversation, digest it a little bit. It seems like there's potential, right? It seems like there's opportunity here.
Let me clarify on that one. The supervisor and another member of the township did meet with this gentleman, and he did explain everything. So it's just new to some of the board members. Just
Okay.
to clarify.
Thank you.
And I thought it would be a good opportunity for him to explain himself to the audience, maybe they didn't know, starts and where he came from and what he wants to do. So that was really, my goal for that was to really give the audience and the crowd a good feedback of, hey, this, has a potential to become part of our park system, and that, users like yourself could use on a regular basis. So it was just he's a young entrepreneur that wants to get started, and it's got a great idea. So we applaud that as well.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Parks Committee, Jeanette Stevenson, I'd like to say, I guess, bring attention to the fact that this map of our parks has been talked about for several years now. and it's been leading, especially once he started doing Bridge Fest. And so this is going to be, no matter what company it is, it sounds like, based on conversations I've had, that this is a really great opportunity for us to expand on what we can offer to the community. And I'm just really looking forward to whatever company it is, that we have this feature available to us, and that we're able to adapt it specifically for our events.
And I like to bring that, the guy brings it to our attention. And I guess my comment will be, if anybody out here knows anybody that does it, we're welcome to, suggestions to follow up.
Well, you can always call or email us if you do come up with somebody. We will try to find somebody else that does this also.
I just have a clarifying question on this parks. Are they then going to do all the parks in Lowell? So let's say a parent comes in and says, I don't know where your lacrosse field is, or I don't know where your soccer fields are. Is this going to do all the parks? So
I think eventually it will.
Right now.
Because that to me, I could see that being really helpful.
It would be, very helpful.
Because the Y and, Lasso and all that comes in and we're scattered,
If you look at our the Lowell area trail maps, you look at our parks, the goal was to connect all of our parks by paved trail, which we've done, but most people don't know that.
Right. It's
so
really kind of well,
that's where
secret thing.
this idea, when he spoke about that, I think Jeanette and I probably thought of the same. We're on the trail board as well, so it's a great idea, and I think we should collaborate with both of us and see if we can make this happen.
Maybe you can have, it kind of felt like, with just two people meeting with him, kind of left you guys out in the cold, have a meeting. The more heads you got, the more you could throw out there and say, is this going to be cheaper if we just roll it all out together versus we put it in piecemeal too?
Well,
Just a thought.
We couldn't meet with more people because we would be violating the Open Meetings Act. So we just got the info to present to the board. And right now we're talking about just our north and south park. If the city wanted to do something, they could do the same. See this guy or somebody
maybe
else.
get together and, again, have that, and, you bring it up to the public, and they might have ideas, or people who would volunteer to do things. And that doesn't sound like this guy's going out for much of a cost. Again, it's what I said earlier, we don't know what you're doing behind. You could well have volunteered that work, and as I said, where I came before, there are people from Steelcase that basically, it was just, we just need to break even, or we're donating this, or whatever.
So there
But it
is
was all brought before the board.
there is a city rep and there's a Virginia Township rep on the Lowell Area Recreational Authority.
Yeah.
And we'll have them bring it to all the municipalities.
And just bring it all out in the open. I mean, that's what the people are asking for. And I don't, I think they'll find that basically you're not hiding as much, or haven't used that feeling, but good luck on it. It sounds like a good idea.
Hey everyone, I was just looking at the township website, and I see there's a township parks section. We've got the North Riverfront Park, South Riverfront Park, Splash Pad, Seasonal, Bradford Light, Nature Preserve. There's just text description of the amenities. It does seem like it would be helpful to have, some kind of a map available to the public. I would just ask that, kind of iterating what was already said, maybe if we're looking at something with this gentleman, some kind of an interactive map, what would it cost to expand it beyond just like the one, Bridge Fest and like the one South Riverfront portion of the parks to make it more accessible, and also like make sure that like in the quote or make sure it's available on the website. it's like linked to the township website. I can't make sure that's part of the pricing and the proposal. I would suggest before we, approve anything. And then also like on the Trailway, Lowell area, trailway.org, like there's this whole separate, and I understand it's kind of a community-wide, it sounds like, group or, similarly, like there's trail information and like real brief, like 1 or 2 sentence text descriptions, making sure it's all connected so it's like more visual and like user friendly. Like if I want to take my family somewhere, I kind of know what I'm getting into, how are the restrooms, and kind of just connecting it all together. And if we're spending a couple, $3,000 on this, and we're short fire budget that's coming out of the general fund, like let's make sure we're like negotiating and like getting the most for our money.
I can let you know that at least the 3 of us here had not seen anything about this until we got our binders for this meeting. So this is when it's being presented, and we get a chance to talk about it and identify why this was being handled. I just want to let you know how this process works.
Okay, you've got some information from the County Road Commission, how the transportation funding works, how they're going to spend the money, and they still don't have a definite number that they're going to get from the state, so it was just kind of an outline of how they plan on spending.
But everything looks good.
Yeah, it does. They're good partners. Although we have a lot of potholes right now. They did fix Old Nash, but that's a temporary fix. They plan on resurfacing Old Nash this summer, and that's beyond their dime. The township doesn't have to contribute anything towards that.
That's a county project? Is that county? Yes.
Yes, it's the county.
So Jerry, just to recap, this is a little bit different because of the legislation that got passed and how the funding comes through entities.
Yeah.
You want to give a brief explanation of that?
The townships all over the state got our funding that comes from the state cut this year, but the counties and the cities got more, and the county's trying to balance that out to help us, but they still don't know exactly how much money they're going to get from the state, but their goal is to try to make us whole on what we got cut. So, and we still don't have the exact number that we're going to get this year, so.
So like this, Jerry, we approved a budget with an estimate of what we have in road construction and what that looks like without exactly knowing everything coming down the pipeline, correct?
Yeah. Well, we have $200,000 in our budget for roads, and the county will be asking for bids. They come to us with a map with a condition on all our roads and the township, and then we sit down with them and decide, okay, this is the worst one, we can fit this one into our, once they get the bids, we can fit this into our budget. What the county is trying to do is they'll put a little more into that kitty, so maybe we can fix one more road. But they don't know yet just how much they're going to be able to do.
Jerry, I just want to spend a little time on this, just make a couple comments, because I know a few people at the road commission, and they've been getting death threats based on all the Nash and all that. Literal death threats at the county. So, visual aware, we're working on it. So that's all.
Yeah, you can tell. I don't know if you noticed it, but I think people that live in this area are straddling the white line, and the people that are plowing through all the potholes are probably visitors. Figuring that out.
Yeah, you gotta take that mic away. Yeah, there you go.
Right. Usually I'm loud enough, I don't need a mic.
Okay.
I do have one comment.
Okay.
I just want to let the crowd know we are exploring opportunities to provide for ADA for trying tonight, because we knew it wasn't gonna be perfect, just to let you know. And this space is a little different than we're hoping for our board meeting when we get back to our board room, I mean. And so, because we are definitely having trouble finding interpreters, Andrea was so kind and she has, right, Andrea? Okay, so we'd definitely like to thank her for her long drive, but we did contact 5 different companies for interpreters. So, Tyler, I hope that tonight was a very good night for you to be involved with this whole meeting process, and we will move forward with different things that we can provide ADA compliance with. So we're working diligently.
Okay, any more comments?
Me.
Okay.
I was what line was great.
Yeah, me too, Bill. I have copies of this list. I think they got stopped right there, Jerry.
Yep.
Take one and pass it down. It's the list that Molly referenced of the communities that have adopted or have pending moratoriums. I told the ladies when we met that I would bring this up, and I told them a 12-month moratorium I thought would be a stretch, but a 6-month one was, you know, maybe a little more optimistic. So I do think that's something we need to look into doing. So. Thank you.
Bill, did you have a comment too? Okay. If there's no more comments, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Then moved and supported that we adjourn at this time. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay? Okay.
Our park actually is